It is day 1431 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. It should be discussed for Am Yisrael. Chamakum Shehem. Today we're doing Yeridea Simon, based on Zion. Receive Mem Dalit. Receive Mem Tes. Mem Dalit. B'shtar case that how does it ever go free? B'shtar. Kosel Niyar Cheres. You write him on a paper, on a pot chart. Excuse me. Call the Baratolush. Anything which is separate from the ground. Harei you so and so ben are free, or harei that's why you're free yourself. Or only have nothing to do with you. Most certainly, other you give him this document. That's what it goes free. Ainly shall harei yad ebekid rabbo. Can't ask, well, the hand of the slave is like the hand of his master. He lets him so Chabbal's house, and he goes out of the jurisdiction of the master by receiving something on his own. That Shulab is that the answer to this is the Gita B'yad Bank Echad, his document of release and his capacity to receive it comes simultaneously. Meaning the shichuro is meaning his freedom, the koch yodo, and the power of his hand. Shlote shus rabbi should not be in the jurisdiction of his master. They come together simultaneously. Shas kabos get shichuro when he receives his document of release. So to the master can give the document to someone else. She is given she'll ever to acquire on behalf of the slave. Without the slave's awareness, the mistama we assume he's consents to this. The schusalo it's a merit for him. Masha is that which goes free. Nevertheless, if he refuses to receive it, lo yatzabel he does not go free. Lo time in the kesef, it's not like money. Mitam should be able to receive him in base, for like we explained already yesterday. For avakav the yodo yachol litain shtabakoch, even though in his own hand the master give it directly against his will. And even through an agent, he can send them against his will. Kain Kasel Rashi Taisus begitten, and that's a Rashi and Taisus saying gitten. That was the Yud, and Zel Shem as follows: the Shlichus Bar Korcho, but Shlichus against his will, the Begerushin Isa, Kiddushin Lesa, which applies by Gerushin and not by Kiddushin. Because the shliach can be sent to divorce her against his will. Kain Evid, so to a slave, the shachar bar korcho, to release him against his will. But not by kiddushin. Ad kalashano. B'chein muchal mariyaf because this you're compelled to say. So yishtar shichus ever go mina mikra the chuv shalo nitan lo. His or his freedom was not given. Her freedom was not given to her. Kamina lo lami. So we learned the law as Xavier Shava from the law of. That says by a wife, where it says because of law, he writes for a bill of divorce. Get Isha mina Torah and get Isha mida rights that works even against the will. But that's to send it to the Eved through a shliach. But for somebody else to acquire for the Eved against his will, it's not possible. How can he stand in his place and acquire for him? Shem Mitzvah says he's not agreeable with this. When also getting divorced through a third party against her will. Somebody can send a get to give to her, but she can't receive a get by somebody else against her will. The im kasel the shichos wrote to if you write to your maidservant bishtar in a document you are permitted to anybody. It's more meaningless. It's not a language of freedom. Is the way you sever a marriage relationship. You can't explain it means that now she's permitted to marry a regular Jew. Because she's forbidden before she's released. Because on the other hand, now she's also to avodim, to which she was permitted. So you can't say she's permitted for everybody. Yisrael. But the base of this, Arukh HaShulchan says, it seems to him that if she wrote specifically, now you're permitted to marry a Jew, have a shichur to release. Wrote to a male slave, now you're permitted to marry a Jewish woman, that also would be a release in the same manner. In bracket says, seems that way from Rashi, Kedushin Davov. It's only if you wrote these languages in a shtar. He said this verbally to him, it's meaningless. That's what the Ram writes. He said not through a document, but you are now free. To make you now belong to yourself. Basically testified that he said this. Adam and Basin testified that he said this. Even though they made a kinyan miyado from his hand, it's nothing. Only 3 weeks go free. Money, document, or by strike nooning the heads of the limbs. Akal Sharo, end quote. For arriving the seal of the Ravid, complaining against Rambam, they became the if you make a kinyan, you go free. That type of kinyan, which is chalifin, the symbolic acquisition, that doesn't work on Rambam. Therefore, the Torah Shulchan did not write this lashon in the chalifin koinen, because the chalifin do acquire. So they're not right. It has to be specifically this way. Mashkusam Sham, like we wrote there, it's in brackets says here, Tzarchin Gora Shachsi Kumun Hey, Shkosam Tand about pain on wheel, right? Said verbal does not work. Mishum the Gufo Kani, because his body is acquired for Rav Shmuel Girono and Girono Machul, and the master is Michael on payment. The payment is not forgiven. Zen Amar Kishan Ayin Tezayin Bebed Ivri, but that's about Bebed Ivri. Giron Kesser, it's not by Yev Knai, it's like Bebed Ivri. Shav say Knai, it's not do that Knai. But Tam Komash Kasser Rambam Beduk reasons because Rambam wrote the Shitasa that the Ma'aser Chalifin is ineffective. Memphis, because Rabbeinu Beisetziv Siv Mem Dal, the Beisetziv rights. Muscle Ashtar Bifnei, we gave him the document for the witnesses. Hashu Edim Chasumim, or witnesses a sign on it. Muscle Ben Ben Hatsu, he gave it to be private. Yotzav Cheres, it's effective, works. She goes for Yeshua. Some say should search Bifnei, some say specifically has to be in front of witnesses. V'yimanu Royim also Chasum answer Shiavo B'neidu Edim. So if we see that he is signed, I guess the master signed, the Adam said don't have to come. So I don't tell him continue. So we assume that was given over appropriately. He says the Derishana Dina Das Rambam Perkei. First opinion is the first opinion the Rambam in Perkei, but Shitaso, and he follows this line of reasoning. The Perkei Kedushin, the first Kedushin, the Gam Get Isha. Okay, so also is the case by Get Isha. The Shitas Rif sound. That's the opinion of the Rif. The Havagat Kaimel Krabi Lezer Adam Masir Kart, even though we heard Krabi Lezer that the primary witnesses are those who perceive the giving of the document. Perusha means the Gam Adam Masir Karti means that the Adam Masir are also effective, but also witnesses signed are also effective. We are time by Ebenezer Simon Kuflam Kimmel Sifov. I in church explains this elsewhere. And this is the Takar Magamil, the witnesses sign on the get. That's getting down Flamadal. But that's the opinion of the Rif. The last Rashi, but Taisa Shalom, the opinion of Rashi, Taisa and Gindaf Talin, is the Bloody Masir of Kumu. A get without a Masir is meaningless. Since the witness, we said that since the witnesses are signed on it, we stomach dinas. We assume they did it properly. Umasu laget bifnei Masir that they gave the get in front of Edim Masir. Said that's her Yeshua, that's the meaning of Yeshua. Therefore, they said Shimraim Chasum Cliff. They see somebody sign, etc. The Shem sees sign Baron the Kolam Tavsuk Shita Zu and Sham. Everybody holds like this Rashi Taisus. The cloud over who the Bezet Shabbat Nashim Shulchan Abadim, and the general principle is that in this manner, Gite Avadim Gite Nashim Shulchan Abadim are equivalent, or tantamount to the same thing. We shall see. Memzai, Padat, you should know the Yeshi topic we can question. But hard time begin. So again to pay Vav and Rav Shlishim and Muslim, the 3 again which are puzzle. They're no good. When he says about Kasha, but she gets married to somebody else. On the basis of this skin, she has a child, the child is a kosher kid. Kasha Ksav Yoda made Adam, the husband writes in his own handwriting, but even though no Adam. Yeshua Adam, it has witnesses, but it has no date. Yesh Bazan has a date for Able Eight Echo, but it only has one witness, Chuli Ansham. What's the case where by release of a slave? Nira would seem to be the came into the Afin Shtar Shikhr get Isha, since he learned the Shtar Shikhr of an Evet from the get of an Isha, so it should be the same halacha, Shavin, they're equivalent. Oev Shah, the Zedekah Kasser Ksav Yodo, or it's possible that case where he wrote in his hands is Kasher Beget. That's okay by get. Yafina, we learn this. You'll see from that which says Kasser of law. He writes it for her. But Zelo Ksiv Rak Isha, but it's only written by a woman. I'll say it's comparable to everything else. Rak Shisha Dvarim when she's bar. Only 6 manners, which will be clarified. Million Zman near the Shavin Hain. In terms of the date, it seems they're equivalent. to write the date. In terms of one witness, according to the opinion that we're talking about, he wrote in his own handwriting. Totally bedin, the ksav yado has to do with the din of his handwriting. Manamar ksav sefer shenu, according to talking about a case where the sofer wrote it. Lo shav say rak begin, and always relevant by gittin, with a sofer muvak and with a well-known scribe. Like the man came showing Piabahu, we know we're not going to write it. We're not write unless you heard from the husband. That's this concept of muvak. He knows the halacha. We don't know that it was done properly because they're not so prevalent. And being muvak doesn't help so much. It's not clear what to say. Memchas, the heads of limbs, limb tips, let's call them. Ketzad. Shein v'ayin, because of the Torah. It says, the Torah writes a tooth or an eye. It says, if a person smites the eye of his eye, the slave, etc., he has to set his slave free. If it's a tooth, etc. Chazal learn cloud pratu cloud. Kedushin chavdal kiyaka cloud. Shein v'ayin prat. Kiyaka is the generalization. Shein v'ayin is specification. The specification. Shachenu chazav v'kiyol. Shachenu send away is the generalization again. V'chulei v'yatzo dan l'kein prat. Cloud pratu cloud has to be similar to the prat. Generalization specification because generalization has to be similar to the specification. Ma prat, just like the specification. First is explicit. Musha b'goli, a wound which is revealed, not concealed. Ein chosim doesn't come back. Avkom musha b'goli is still to any revealed wound. Ein chosim which still won't come back. Every the slave goes free via this wound. There's the chavdal rosh evarim. There are 24 limb tips. Shei mum l'shulgal, which will be revealed movement. Vein chosim which do not then regenerate. Which is boy b'siyat yishmai, as we shall explain. And test. When you're at Bein b'siyas b'siv chapsayin kosav. So it shows the writes case of rosh evarim. How's it work by rosh evarim? Evet shemav tabal shem avdus, a slave who had milan tefillah for the purpose of avdus. Imsimi adon of his einav. If his master's blind, his eye b'chuli akan l'shonah. The tour like a lashon zeh. And the tour of this lashon is not to be found. But it's in the Rambam, Perek Din Hey. Ein yotzim rosh evarim el avonim shemol v'tovim. No one can go free by limb tips. Only slaves which had a milah and tefillah, sheisha mitzvahs that they have required to fulfill some of the mitzvahs. But a slave who is still not Jewish, any Rosh Hashanah doesn't go out with limb tips. The question not right at the source. If a non-fully converted slave can go out with kesef and shtar, with money and with documents, why not Rosh Hashanah? They're all the Raisas, become Vor Rashas, it's different from Gemara. For the Kolevet Kenu, Shemav Hashem Avdus. And besides that, that's how evident it is. He didn't kneel and feel for the purpose of Avdus. Okay, if not, hurry else so now you can't leave him around. Here might be no emotional move. You're going to say we stipulated, it's the case where he stipulated that he should not get a bris milah. It's Bible says, we learned that the repeating Rama is that where they made stipulation, also allowed to leave him around. Still, Akati Kosher, no, the Rama why distinguish between the limp tips and the money and the document? It's true, you could say a kinin kesed is so universal. It applies to so many other circumstances. I've got the ebed yofin lami heftel lani tasing. Though ebed, there's a specific derivation for it. The generic redemption is in money. Nevertheless, the crop married ebed called in ebed. The ambient field nevertheless not compelled to say it's about an ebed who has all the laws of ebed by milat field. No, vuadin apolos. It's possible even without that could go chisna. Okay, such as the case where they made a stipulation. But since this is universal king, it's universal king. By star, which you learn from not other kinyan, but from a woman, a get. Derivation of shava. So it's only talking about a complete evik, more like a complete wife. Why is the din of Rosh Evarim different than the din of the star? They're both specialized. It's not clear. In brackets says a rock examination about Karchas against his will. Kashim Markev. What difference does it make? Kam lo mashkem lo Rambam. But for an answer to this question, actually, why which would be different, we have to tune in for tomorrow's.